Hello everyone. Our report is about raw file format. As far as I know, raw file format is like a basic file format for photos, images, and pictures. So let's talk more about raw file format. Raw file format is a digital photography's equivalent of a negative in film photography. It contains untouched, raw pixel information straight from the digital camera sensor. The raw file format has yet to undergo demosaking, and so it contains just one red, green, or blue value at each pixel location. Digital cameras normally develop this raw file by converting it into a full-color JPEG or TIFF image file, and then store the converted file in your memory card. Digital cameras have to make several interpretive decisions when they develop a raw file, and so the raw file format offers you more control over how the final JPEG or TIFF image is generated. Overview. A raw file is developed into a final JPEG or TIFF image in several steps, each of which may contain several irreversible image adjustments. One key advantage of RAW is that it allows the photographer to postpone applying these adjustments, giving more flexibility to the photographer to later apply these themselves in a way which best suits each image. The following diagram illustrates the sequence of adjustments. So we have a raw image, demonstrating white balance, tone curves, contrast, color saturation, and sharpening, and then converted it to an 8-bit or an JPEG compression. So, demonstrating it in white balance involved interpreting and converting the Bayer array into an image with all 3 colors at each pixel, and occur in the same step. The Bayer arrays what make the first image appear more pixelated than the first image than the other two, and gives the image a grayish tint. Our eyes perceive differences in lightness logarithmically, and so when the light intensity quadruples, we only perceive this as roughly a doubling in the amount of light. A digital camera, on the other hand, records differences in lightness linearly twice the light intensity produces twice the response in the camera sensor. This is why the first and second images above look so much darker than the third. In order for the numbers recorded with in a digital camera to be shown as we perceive them, tone curves needs to be applied. Color saturation and contrast may also be adjusted depending on the setting within your camera. The image is then sharpened to offset the softening caused by demosaking, which is visible in the second image. The high bit depth raw image is then converted into 8 bits per channel and compressed into a JPEG based on the compression setting within your camera. Up until this step, raw image information most likely resided within the digital camera's memory buffer. There are several advantages to performing any of the above raw conversion steps afterwards on a personal computer as opposed to within a digital camera. The next sections describe how using raw files can enhance these raw conversion steps. Demosaking is a very processor intensive step, and so the best demosaking algorithms require more processing power than is practical within today's digital cameras. Most digital cameras therefore take quality compromising shortcuts to convert a raw file into a TIFF or JPEG in a reasonable amount of time. Demosaking also performing the demosaking step on a personal computer allows for the best algorithm, since a PC has many times more processor power than a typical digital camera. Better algorithms can squeeze a little more out of your camera sensor by producing more resolution, less noise, better response, scale, color accuracy, and produce more. Okay. Note the resolution advantage shown below. So, Wait. This images from actual camera test with a Canon EOS 20D using ISO 12233 resolution test chart. Differential between RAW and JPEG resolution may vary with camera model and conversion software. So yeah, this is an example of demonstrating, I think. The in-camera JPEG image is not able to resolve lines as closely spaced as those in RAW image. Even so, a RAW file can not achieve the ideal line shown because the process of demosaicing always introduces some softening to the image. Only sensors which capture all three colors at each pixel location could achieve the ideal image shown at the bottom. Flexible white balance. White balance is the process of removing unrealistic color cast so that objects which appear white in person are rendered white in your photo. Color cast within JPEG images can often be removed in post-processing, but at the cost of bit depth and color gamut. This is because the white balance has effectively set twice, once in RAW conversion and then again in post-processing. RAW files give you the ability to set the white balance of a photo after the picture has been taken, without unnecessarily destroying the bits. High bit depth. Digital cameras actually record each color channel with more precision than 8-bit or 256 levels per channel used for JPEG images. Most current cameras capture each colors with 12 bits of precision, 212 to 4096 levels per color channel, providing several times more levels than could be achieved by using an in-camera JPEG. Higher bit depth decreases the susceptibility to post-duration and increase your flexibility when choosing a color space and in post-processing.
Hi, now I'm going to talk about dynamic range and exposure compensation. The RAW file format usually provides considerably more dynamic range than a JPEG file. Depending on how the camera creates its JPEG, the dynamic range refers to the range of light to dark which can be captured by a camera before becoming completely white or black, respectively. Since the raw color data has not been converted into logarithmic values using curves, the exposure of a raw file can be adjusted slightly after the photo has been taken. Exposure compensation can correct for metering errors or can help bring out lost shadow or highlight details. The following example was taken directly into the settings and shows the same raw file with -1 stop, 0 or no change, and +1 stop exposure compensation. Observe how exposure compensation affects the image. So here, this is the original picture. In the middle, it's the original picture. On the bottom right, we have the -1 stop, where you can see it's a bit darker. On the left is the +1 stop, where you can see that it's much more brighter, and you can see the foreground. While on the -1 stop, you can see the background more. Note that +1 or -1 stop refers to a doubling or halving of the light used for an exposure, respectively. A stop can also be listed in terms of electron volt, and so +1 stop is equivalent to +1 electron volt. Note the broad range of shadow and highlight detail across the three images. Similar results could not be achieved by merely brightening or darkening a JPEG file, both in dynamic range and in the smoothness of tones. A graduated neutral density filter could then be used to better utilize this broad dynamic range. Enhanced sharpening. Since a raw file is untouched, sharpening has not been applied within the camera. Much like demosaicing, better sharpening algorithms are often far more processor intensive. Sharpening performed on a personal computer can thus create fewer halo artifacts for an equivalent amount of sharpening. Since sharpness depends on the intended viewing distance of your image, the raw file format also provides more control over what type, how much sharpening is applied, given your purpose. Sharpening is usually the last post-processing step since it cannot be undone. So So having a pre-sharpened JPEG is not optimal. Lossless compression. The RAW file format uses a lossless compression, so it does not suffer from the compression artifacts visible with lossy JPEG compression. RAW files contain more information and achieve better compression than TIFF, but without the compression artifacts of JPEG. Note that Kodak and Nikon employ a slightly lossy RAW compression algorithm. Although any artifacts are much lower than would be perceived in the similar JPEG image. The efficiency of RAW compression also varies with digital camera manufacturer. Now, the disadvantages. RAW files are much larger than similar JPEG files, and so fewer photos can fit within the same memory card. RAW files are more time-consuming since they may require manually applying each conversion step. RAW files often take longer to be written to a memory card since they are larger, therefore most digital cameras may not achieve the same frame rate as with JPEG. RAW files cannot be given to others immediately as they require specific software to load them. Therefore, it may be necessary to first convert them into JPEG. Also, RAW files require a more powerful computer with more temporary memory, or RAM. Other considerations. One problem with RAW file format is that it is not very standardized. Each camera has their own proprietary RAW file to format, so one program may not be able to read all formats. Fortunately, Adobe has announced a digital negative, or DNG file, specification which aims to standardize the RAW file format. In addition, any camera which has the ability to save RAW files should come with its own software to read them. Now, good RAW conversion software can perform batch processes and often automates all conversion steps except those which you choose to modify. This can mitigate or even eliminate the ease of use advantage of JPEG files. Many newer cameras can save both RAW and JPEG images simultaneously. This provides you with an immediate final image but retains the RAW negative just in case more flexibility is desired later. Now, which is better, JPEG or RAW? Now, as you can see here, the JPEG image on the JPEG magnification on the right is a bit blurred compared to the RAW file, the RAW image on the left, which is much more detailed compared to the JPEG. So in summary, now the question is which is better, RAW or JPEG? Now, there is no single answer. This depends on the type of photography you are doing. In most cases, RAW files will provide the best solution due to their technical advantages and the decreasing cost of large memory cards. RAW files give the photographer far more control. With this comes the trade-off of speed, storage, space, and ease of use. The RAW trade-off is sometimes not worth it for sports and press photographers, although landscape and most fine arts photographers often choose RAW in order to maximize the image quality potential of their digital camera. Well, thank you. God bless.